Greetings, folks. Nice to have you here today. My name is Dustin Cormier. Welcome to another pleasant episode of How to Rock Astrology. Today we're going to be talking about what happens when you have the Sun in Virgo and Mars in Leo. Most of this reading is going to be coming from Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega. I've taken upon myself to do this series because I'm a Scorpio, Mars, and Sun. Scorpio and Mars are conjunct in my chart. I like being sexy, and Sagittarius moon likes to talk about it. If you'd like to know a little bit more about me, you can check out this picture that I'm eventually going to find. You can check me out on my website, dustincormier.net, or you can read my book. And here's a little glimpse of my chart, just so you have some objectivity about the person giving you this information, because that's something I always like to do. I don't think enough people do it on YouTube. Yeah, so we've already talked a little bit about Mars in Leo. Check out my Mars in Leo video if you'd like to just get a little bit of a sense, a more pointed sense of what it means to have Mars in Leo. We've talked a bit about how Mars is very close to its debilitation point in Cancer, which means that it fluctuates, and it likes to fluctuate. You've got Mars here, and so you've got to learn to deal with a fluctuating spirit of energization and vitality, and even inspiration in a lot of ways. Inspiration in little moments. The Sun can be inspired on a constant sense, or it can be drawn towards its dharma, drawn to express what it is all the time, based on whether your sun is strong or not. It's a constancy. Mars is more of like an in-the-moment capacity to really patiently delve at every moment with full senses intact into the moment that calls for it. And if Mars is not strong, then the person could be inspired in a constant way to do whatever the spirit asks, or whatever the sun wants to do, but they might not always be in the mood. They might not be fully flush with a passionate reaching towards what they want to do in every moment. And that's what Mars is. Mars helps the sun get what the sun wants. In this case, Mars in Leo helps Virgo sun get what the Virgo sun wants. Now, the sun in Virgo is it's an okay placement, if I'm not mistaken. The sun, Mercury is good friends with the sun. Yes. The sun has Mercury for a friend. Mercury is very close to the sun naturally, cosmically. And so the sun, when it's in a Mercury sign, is being inspired by a sense of fun. The sun kind of enjoys doing whatever tasks that it's doing when it's in a Mercury sign. In Virgo, it's not as good. Both of these planets in this combination are right next door to their debilitation point. Mars in Leo is right next door to Cancer, which means it fluctuates. It's not always, it needs to be buffered and pampered in the Leo sense. It needs to have affection from others in order to get out its best. It needs to feel glorious, and it wants to use glory and glamour and dominating nature and characteristics in order to get what the sun wants, which in here is Virgo. Now, Virgo sun really doesn't always feel as inspired as some other placements of the sun. The sun in Virgo is inspired. There's a lot of energy here. It's a cultivating energy. It's looking at what's useful. It's looking at what is like materially acquisitive, energetically acquisitive, and what's ergonomical. And oftentimes, it's thinking about its inspiration, and it tries to quantify its inspiration in words, in language, in Mercury, which is not necessarily what the sun does. The sun energy and everybody's just pouring forth from the top of their spiritual cerebellum, from just like the radio waves of the universe of their metaphysical karma pouring through. And this person might have all these thoughts about what they could be, what they want to be, but in the end, a Virgo sun is probably going to say, what matters is how useful and reliable I can be to people that are close to me. It's not the greatest place for the sun, and also the Mars is not the greatest place being in Leo, but they're not conjunct. They are far enough away from each other here typically, unless they're like, if they are combust, that's always a tough thing for the Mars. Not so bad for the Sun, but always a tough thing for the Mars. So, with all of that being said, the Sun in Virgo desires to be useful to people, and how the Sun in Virgo goes about gaining its energy to do its little reliable job. Like with the Sun in Virgo, this person is happy to work at a craft that it loves. And it wants to do that craft without too much emotional energy. Usually, the Sun in Virgo, when it's at its best nature in a way, emotions don't move it, don't fluctuate it. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing. It's the nature of emotions. Like if we completely detach from our emotions, and if you have Mars in Capricorn, you'll be happy to just hack at whatever you want, and you'll find energizing things. You'll attract energizing things. That's what happens when Mars is in Capricorn. Here, when Mars is in Leo, it's like poetic and soulful, and it wants to get an enriching sense of some kind of poetry, some kind of soul aspiration in Virgo's little detailed ambitions and use of its vitality and mental and physical energies. The Virgo wants to do some mundane, reliable tasks. It wants to bring the bacon and the bread home to mama and the kids. Or that's a whole trip in itself. You don't need to roll with that, but it wants to look useful. The Sun is inspired to be really good at some kind of technical craft or skill, and for people to appreciate them for it. So they'll probably get some kind of consistent job that consistently gives them this feeling. That's a Virgo nature in general. With Mars and Leo, it's a for better or worse thing that the Mars is vitalized by little inspired poetic moments of romantic or sentimental inflection from another person, or just from their own poetic sense if they happen to have that inside them, depending on the house this is in or what have you, where the moon is or whatever. This person will feel most energized and vitalized to do the Virgo thing when they are being loved and appreciated and being shown affection, and when someone's petting the kitty, as we say with Mars and Leo. And they'll do it. They'll put the sunglasses on, and they'll look cool, and they'll look suave, and they'll try to always put a front of yes, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And it's good for the reliableness of Virgo when they really love you. When this Virgo, when you consider a person to be very important to you, Mars and Leo here fixates on other people who give them energy and vitality. They fixate on relationships, and they want to be useful to those relationships. And they want those people to love them for it. There's an ego energy here with Mars and Leo. If at their best, this Virgo would get lots of feelings of being loved for their sexiness, for the way and the grace that they handle the craft that people are coming to them for. It could even be a sort of I'm thinking of in my sexual fantasy mind of just some really fixity Virgo who goes into clean someone's sink or something like that, and then the single woman is sitting at the door just you really know how to unclog a sink, huh? That kind of energy for a young person of this sign, feeling someone's affection for their good job and reliable job, and that being sexy in between is the kind of thing that really gets this person going, if I'm reading the energy correctly. Let me know what you think in the comments if I'm like right on this sort of regard. But in any case, it's a juicy energy. Sun in Virgo is sentimental, wants to be known for its usefulness, and wants to connect usually to a single person or a family, what have you. If you're a polyamorous person, you can fit that into that schema. I'm polyamorous myself. I digress. But it wants to have some fixed memory of people who show them affection for the things that they're constantly being admired for the usefulness for. Now, that was my own little derivation of this combination. Let's look at what Phyllis Vega says in Erotic Astrology about Sun in Virgo, Mars in Leo. You are deeply passionate, and you exude a type of smoldering sexuality that potential suitors find exceedingly appealing. What's going on here is that the Virgo is modest and humble and doesn't wear it on their sleeve per se, that they're like super looking to be sexy per se. I mean, they do though. They do it in subtle ways that just like it's kind of this quiet thing, but it's like you wouldn't expect them to be too haughty, but then they'll place their coffee just so, like with a little bit of flair in the way they swing their hand, and a certain confidence and a gleam in the eye that's just like cool, that people see past the Virgo sun into the smoldering Mars beneath. Although again, this Mars is more of a sexuality that's enlightened by true romantic, sentimental devotion, as opposed to just a sexy, wanting to fuck everything sort of energy. This person's a bit more sentimental than that. In close relationships, romance truly matters, but so does intellectual rapport. Your high ideals extend to the bedroom, and casual affairs hold little temptation for you. You possess deep levels of sexual desire that need to be drawn out slowly over time. Your ideal lover knows how to be thrilling and entertaining without overstepping the bounds of good taste. So it's the Virgo that really likes to have a sense of good taste, and even the Mars in Leo wants to see a high-pointed, spiritual, universal, timeless observation of glamour or of beauty or of coolness in their partner and in themselves. And they will probably, a Virgo sun, Mars and Leo, will appreciate a partner who helps them in an intellectual way talk about what everyone finds stimulating, what everyone finds sexy, and what I find sexy about you, and to connect them to movies, you know, things that people have always thought are sexy. These kind of things are admirable in a partner for a sun in Virgo, Mars, and Leo. All fun things to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if I seemed accurate or if I'm in the right place. I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. See you guys on the next one.